The Stigma Dreamscape is a level 90 dungeon in Endwalker. In order to access it, you need to finish the Endwalker storyline, specifically 6.0, and complete a very short quest line given to you by Jammingway, who is located in Old Charlian, X11, Y14. It's a small quest chain called Where No Loprit Has Gone Before. It's about 3 or 4 quests total to complete this, and then you'll have access to this dungeon, the Stigma Dreamscape. And this is the boss guide. Enjoy. The very first boss in the Stigma Dreamscape is a dog-looking mechanobot called Photo Omega. Except for, I would say, like, maybe 1.5 mechanics. It's a fairly simple boss fight, just not standing in bat. Side cannons is going to take either the left or right side, and he's going to cover the entire arena with an AoE, so dodge either left or right of the boss, depending on where those are. Forward interceptors are going to cover the front half of his body, covering the entire arena with an AoE, so get out of that. Rear interceptors is exactly the opposite. Chemical Missile, which you just cast, is going to give an AoE marker towards everybody. As soon as that wears off, it's going to leave AoE markers on the ground. Electric Slide is going to be cast on someone, and you're going to slide away from that marker. So make sure that when you position yourself when an Electric Slide goes off, you're not going to be landing inside of the AoE markers. Guided Missile is exactly the same as Chemical Missile, except it's going to tether 2 of the party members with the missile, and after a certain time, or even if they make contact with the missile, it's going to leave an AoE marker behind as well. And just like before, Electric Slide is going to go off, so position yourself so you don't go into the AoE markers as soon as Electric Slide goes off. And Mustard Bomb is the tank buster here, so be wary of that, healers and tanks. Side cannon again. And then Guided Missile again. And then another Chemical Missile. Sometimes Chemical Missile and Guided Missile are cast at the same time, and then you know for sure Electro Slide is going to go off as soon as it lands. As such. If you have the Electric Slide marker, do your best to not fidget around. It makes everybody's life a lot easier to position themselves to not be knocked back into the AoE damaging circles left behind by the 2 missile attacks. And then, nothing new there, so rinse and repeat until the boss is down. And that is the very first boss in the Stigma Dreamscape. Let's see what's in store for us for boss number 2. The second boss in Stigma Dreamscape is Arch Lambda, a dog motorcycle looking hybrid. And if it wasn't for like 1, maybe 1.5 mechanics, it's actually pretty easy. But we'll see how this goes. So Wheel is the tank buster, so be careful of that. Healers and tanks. Automobile Assault Cannon is a dash around the arena that you guys kind of gotta memorize. And after he's done, he's gonna cast an entire AoE, except for the small portion basically right next to him. So the hardest part is memorizing where the 4 lines are gonna hit, where you gotta move if you need to move at all, to get out of the way, and it's easier from there. Atomic Flame is just a party-wide AoE, so healers top everybody off. And then this last mechanic is Automobile Sniper Cannon. So just match up to your numeric marker on the line, just to make sure you don't overlap with anybody else, to prevent extra damage going out. And then Wheel is the same thing again. It's a tank buster. And after that, guys, it's just rinse and repeat. So here's the Automobile Assault Cannon again. Look out for the lines. Oh, I got hit twice. My bad, healer. And then the automatic sniper cannon, or automobile sniper cannon again. Excuse me. And honestly, the hardest part is the automobile assault cannon because you gotta memorize the 4 different lines that he's going to, and go on the same side that where he ends after that cast. So that's the second boss in this dungeon. Pretty easy except for those 1.5 mechanics. Let's see what the last boss has in store for us. The very last boss in the Stigma Dreamscape is a Sauron robotic hybrid called Stigma 4. And the main target you want to kill, yes, is the Eye Stigma 4 itself, but he's going to spawn a few ads and have a few mechanics, specifically one tricky one that you guys want to watch out for. But after a few tips like this, and after watching this a few times, after trying this a few times, more importantly, it's pretty simple. You just got to watch out for one debuff, and I'll explain that in a bit. So AI Takeover is going to be spawning one of 3 things. First is going to be spawning an ad to the south of the room, I believe. Yeah, south of the room. Omega Frame. So what you got to do is get away from the boss because he's going to be casting an AoE that takes up half the room, similar to the very first boss of this dungeon, and then cast Self-Destruct. That's why you got to kill the ad immediately. If Self-Destruct goes off, it's a party wipe. But it's pretty simple. And then he's gonna cast, or he's gonna summon a second ad called the Hybrid Dragon, and you got to be on the side of him because he's gonna do a full conal AoE that's gonna take up the entire room. So be right on next of him. Also gonna cast a Self-Destruct. So make sure you take care of that. And then he's gonna summon a Line of Fists. Make sure you get in the empty lane so you didn't get slapped around. And then that's literally half the fight. Second half of the fight is he's going to transform into a Helix. If it's a Helix, get out of melee range. If it's a Donut, get in. So Helix, get out. Donut, get in. He's going to be into a Donut. There we go. We want to come in on that. And all of my teammates didn't. Okay. Guess it's a learning party. So the debuff that's kind of tricky is going to play an effect of that. And the debuff itself is called Mind Hack. So the debuff on me is that I'm going to be facing right. So after the debuff wears off, I'm going to be forced to march right about 7 steps. So I'm going to have to go out because it's a Helix. So without any hands, I'm marching right from where I'm facing when the debuff goes off. And I'm out of harm's way. Atomic Ray is simply just a raid-wide damage. So healers top us off. Oh my god. My party members are down. Alright. Multi-AI takeover, so probably going to see some ads again. Yep. Along with the fists. There you go. And get away from that second half of the arena. Simple as that. Alright, I'll be marching backwards now. And it's a donut get in. So gonna be marching into the donut. And you can tell where you're gonna be forced to march based on the debuff's icon and the debuff's name. March down is backwards, march up is forward, I believe. March left is left, right is right. So I'll be marching right. Or right face, marching right, going into the donut. So, no hands again. Boom. I'm in a safe zone. And that's it. If you guys have enjoyed this guide or found any informative value, please hit like, hit subscribe, and most of all, share this with your Final Fantasy XIV friends so they're a little bit more informed on dungeons and makes everything in the community go by a lot smoother. And as always, see you in the next one.